Just finishing that property. We got landscapers tomorrow, and they're doing pictures Thursday. So it's going to be, I guess, technically Hannah's her pseudo first listing. She's going to go on it, but everything's done. She just doesn't actually formally have her license back in hand. They're just waiting for the state to mail it to her.
And she can't list a property until she has her license in hand?
So she can't. So we set up with that Keller Williams agent because he's basically literally, for our own work, he's basically just passing through the cost to have, like, kind of how you have your mom like do paperwork and stuff like that for your listing and docs and stuff, and you pay her a fee per deal. He's literally just passing through his cost. So on the buying side for a deal, he's literally just charging us the fee for his two girls, but they'll run everything. They'll take care of title, scheduling, all that stuff. We don't even really have to touch it. So he worked out pretty good with us.
Just charging you a few $100 a deal or something. Now, when she listed, though, she'll be able to negotiate it, right? She'll be able to negotiate everything?
Oh, yeah. So it'll technically go under his team name, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But she'll be able to go through and actually just treat the deal like she was agent on it.
Yeah, so she's under his team, which is normal, but she's still the listing agent, but she's just on his team.
Exactly. And then we get to use
as long as she has control over it, that's all that matters.
Yep. Yeah, but like she has his people that are like they take care of scheduling the pictures, and he's got actually a really good photographer. So we're just using his photographer, and basically all that normal stuff, he's having his girl schedule and take care of all the kind of the logistics and the listing documents and everything. And then basically he's just going to pass those costs for the pictures for that stuff through to us. So he did work out a pretty good setup with us.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, man, because now you kind of get the best of both worlds. You don't have the headache of listing it, but you have like all the ability to make the most of the listing. It's a really good setup.
Yeah, exactly. And what did you say you are? You're about $600 a month, just a flat fee you pay to the broker?
Yeah, that's it. Just $600 a month, but I don't get any services done for that. That $600 a month is so I don't have to pay the broker anything, like admin fee, nothing. Because the reason why is like admin fees, the brokers usually charge you like a $300 to $400 admin fee, and I do a lot of deals every month. So some months, 3-4 deals a month. So it could be kind of expensive, and then they want to charge you all these other things. So I don't even know if 600 is a good deal or not. I'm just like, it's like $600.
That's what I was asking.
I ain't worried about it.
So so he actually went to bat for us with the broker and with the office manager, with the office accountant, I guess Keller Williams calls them. So they have you do what's called capping out. But he actually has the team cap since he's a team manager. So we only have to pay towards the commissions. So we're actually going to be just about the equivalent of about $600 a month when it breaks down. So I think we're going to be right around $8,000 a year because he negotiated us. We only have quote unquote 5,000 towards the cap, if you will, because we're just running our own business through. And then we're about that three, like you were saying, the 3,000 that they have to the KW Care. So I think we're pretty fair. I mean, we're probably, if we were to average it out, we're probably a little over $600 a month. And, we still get the access to the service of having his team and his girls, work on, schedule pictures, set up title.
Dude, I pay my mom $1,500 a month $1,500 a deal for that, which actually is really high, but she does like bookkeeping and all kind of other stuff for me. So it's kind of like what it is. But I think there's like transaction coordinators usually charge like $300-$400 a deal to do it. And, but like if you have someone on their team, dude, that's such a good deal. The only thing I would argue about is the whole KW Cares. Dude, that $3,000 for KW Cares, you don't know where it's going.
No, and I knew that. No, and I realized that. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is like, dude, they could be supporting Bruce Jenner because you know how tough it is for him. He's a hero now. You never know, man. And they don't want to be like, I'm not a he, I'm not a she. And I want a bathroom where, some dudes are pulling out their thing when my women are in there. Like, it's just, I don't want anybody to be judged. No, I think they actually do some
KW
good
really
stuff
does
at KW.
care.
They do care, man. They care about how you feel. They don't want you crying near a bathroom because you chose to be a different race or sex or whatever.
No, man, I thought, you know what? He was transparent with us. He was fair. He's like, listen, he's like, he's like, I'm honestly not doing this to make money off of your deals. He's like, what I realize, he's like, and, we still get those listings coming across and through our team. And he goes, I'm going to be honest. He goes, your listings generate a ton of activity, a ton of calls. When people call in and they don't get your listings, they generate buyers that I can pass on to my team. So he's like, listen, man, he's like, I don't need your deals to be profitable. He's like, I have a business of my own. He goes, just cover the cost of the girls I have on staff and like cover the cost of your pictures. And I'm like, that's fair enough. Like, one way or the other, that's either going to be something that Hannah's going to do, or we can just have him do it per deal.
I would never. There's almost no cost you could pay me to do it. So I get it, dude. I would definitely. It sounds like you've put together almost the perfect deal. I mean, it just sounds to me like I would personally do what you're doing. So great job, man. That's an awesome setup. Like, good job for telling Hannah. Good job also. You both probably worked it out. But yeah, that's the best of both worlds because you get to do what matters, but you ain't got to do none of the stuff that's like that mundane, low level activity stuff, right? Like printing out contracts and doing all, like, dude, anyone can do that. What not everyone can
we
do
don't have
is
to deal with any of that.
Hannah now, what not everyone can do is when you're like asking for multiple highest and best, you're trying to get stuff, you're trying to get people to negotiate people up without pissing them off. Like, that's a huge thing. Just negotiate so many people this last couple of weeks because I have a bunch of deals going to contract. And I'm getting even better at it now. I'm learning. Like, I used to get a little bit, I'd say a little bit demanding, a teeny bit, because I get a little frustrated with people sometimes and I get a little snippy. And at least, the overall vibe of it is definitely feeling a little challenging. And I'm learning to get really like nice and soft about it, but I get what I need from them. And that's the key, I think, especially when you're going back on like a third and fourth highest and best. It's really important that you set that tone and you've been very much consulted and they're happy to hear from you. And it's just like you and them are fighting the world, trying to get this deal done. Like, I so want us to be able to like, be like, like they were jumping off a cliff together. Like, that's what it has to be. If you can get it like that, people usually appreciate it. And even like little people get a little snippy, tend to have a hard time. Like, not kind of coming down to your level of being cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to help you guys do that. I've been having a lot of fun with it myself. Like, I just
have you recorded any of those calls
the other day.
By any chance?
No, I need to, and I will. I will because honestly, they're easy to record. It ain't like I usually do a few every week. It's a very, very basic script, though. And I think I've told it to you a few times. It's super basic, and I just follow the script. Tanya's coming to work for me. So me and her, one of the things of why she's coming to work for me is she's going to help me take and go through the business and script everything out and take the processes and get them on paper and get them into training modules so each person knows exactly what to do in my business. And then also I can make those available to you guys. Yeah, so that's something. Once she comes full time in a couple months, she'll be part time for a month or two. And then when she comes full time, she's going to be working on it part time, probably more even than when she's full time. But right now, me and her, we're mapping out the exact process for the MLS. So that's been really powerful because we literally are mapping it out in very high level detail because she's a very detailed person and she wants to know, like, okay, you click this button. She don't leave that out, right? When I'm just like, go here, go there, and I feel like I'm jumping multiple steps at a time. I feel like you've told me that too a little bit. Like, you're like, Mike, you're very much giving the overall view of it, and she's more like, hey, like there was a couple things you missed in there specifically. Let's get clear about those. I was like, okay, let's do it. So it's gonna be fun. I'm actually happy to have her come on, and really excited because she's gonna really be a valuable piece to my business.
Huh? That's cool.
Yeah, she's going to take over 3 jobs too. So she's basically going to take over the part of Delante's job that he didn't want anymore because he has some stuff he loves to do and some stuff he just has to do because I don't have anyone else to do it. So she's going to take over stuff he has to do and he don't really like. and he gets to do all the stuff he loves, which is his reward for being awesome for a couple of years. You get to kind of like focus on what he's great at. And then she's going to do Rashad's job, and she's going to do one of my VA's jobs. So yeah, she's going to be like taking on 3 jobs soon. And then what it challenges us to do, what we get the opportunity to do is we get the opportunity to take those jobs and make them simpler, right? Because a lot of them, when you have 3 people doing a job, guess what you do? You find work for 3 people. When you have one person doing 3 people's jobs, well, you figure out how to make it fit. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of stuff I just don't do anymore. Like trying to make my PowerPoints too fancy. I don't need to do that. They just like get a template and just redo it the same way every time. Yeah. It's those kind of things that it's like business is all about getting out of our heads and making every process as simple as possible. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with her doing this over the next 6 months to a year, really building out these processes and taking and mapping them out, doing videos. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we already started working on it. I don't know, Sam, did I ever send you my MLS hot sheet?
Yeah, you just sent that actually on the call last week, and I looked at it quickly, and the MLS is definitely something, and we're actually even going to, I asked Dan, the agent that we're going to start working with, but I guess that's honestly something that we could even do too, because it's funny, I actually talked with Faisal for about 2.5 hours yesterday, and we were talking through different stuff, and somehow the topic of the MLS came up, and he was talking about next deals and putting offers in. And I think what's kind of happened is you've figured out a very streamlined way that you can almost manipulate's the wrong word, but you can you figured out how you can work the MLS that you can push enough right buttons or search enough right areas, and enough about the areas as well that you can almost produce a deal on demand out of the MLS. And when I was talking to him, he said, "Hey,
not
man,
as fast as you. I mean, to be honest, like I feel like you do it faster than even I do, but my market is super competitive, so I am doing it in an area where like it's pretty tough. I looked at, so I'll show you if you look at that MLS sheet, I don't know if you downloaded it or if you have the link. I'm at 39 properties I evaluated right now to get one. And I only went and seen like 15 of them. I personally got my car and went and seen 15 of them. One thing that I realized when I looked at the math is that I only made offers on 5, and I feel like that's too low. That area I need to work on because I should have made offers.
Why did you rule out the other 10?
Well, I just didn't get to them. I wasn't even rolling them out. One thing that I teach when you only have so much time, you have to make I had to look and take my best options and put offers on those. But if I would have had like Tanya or Rashad or someone, I would have had offers on all 15. I only got the 5 of them, so I had to look and say, okay, what's my most likely thing?
I thought you said you saw 15 of them and only made offers on 5. I misunderstood you.
No, so I make offers on anything I see. Usually, there's a couple reasons I might not make an offer, but I'm going to make some offer on everything, at least a verbal over the phone. Hey, I'm probably going to be at like 50. I know you're at 100. Does that make any sense? I'm doing that because I've already spent all my time going there. I might just finish up. Like if you look at I'm going to send you something now and obviously if you keep the links to this and the same thing, the link to the MLS hot sheet, you can see as I'm building it out, I'm growing both of these things. So I would keep the link for a while just so you can actually see them as they evolve because they're really going to evolve over the next month or two. So let me send you something now very quickly. I'll send you the document I'm creating. And this is just my prospecting. I'm breaking this down. There's a little bit of detail that needs to be put in here, but it's on its way.
All right, cool. I'm jumping on right now.
But there's really a 5-step process. And what I'm realizing through this 5-step process is that step number 5 is make the offer. And if you do all of the first 4 steps and don't do the 5th step, you can't make money. However, if you only do 1 step and made the offer, then guess what? You probably have a shot at making money. So the most important step is step 5, to make the offer. And what I realized in mine is I went through all the other steps at a very high level and detailed level, but I didn't do enough of the step 5. That could have got me up to par a little more because I also missed 5 deals too. So on my new MLS hot sheet, I actually have marked deals that got sold to other people for prices I would have bought them for. And I just wasn't quick enough on them. Or like 5 deals that I totally should have got. I mean, I think it was 5 or 7 deals. Actually, it might have been 10. I can't even remember. It was a lot of deals. I know that much. Let me look on here. I can tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah, nine deals. So I'm going to take an educated guess. If I would have been fast enough on those 9 deals, I probably would have got 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah. Now, question for you: have you and maybe it's different. I know we are in similar price points for our markets, but I just got it open. I see the sources. Do you have people go through? We've actually had Fannie Mae on homepath.com. We've actually they have probably 1 out of every 10 MLS deals up here. Are they as big down there? Like I'm putting big, offers in on Fannie. Okay, and they're actually pretty good deals too. But what I'm finding,
Fannie Mae, is that what you're saying? You're getting them from Fannie Mae though, or they're not like any kind of homeowner thing? Because a lot of Fannie Mae's we run in like day one homeowners or.
No, we have. So it's on. So 2 other sources I've been using it's homepath.com, and that's Fannie Mae's website, like HUD Home Store. Mm-hmm. They have one called homepath.com. And then, believe it or not, I've actually been going to auction.com. They've been getting a ton of listings up here lately, and on a lot of them, they're not occupied homes. You can go in and walk them and get the codes. And like the one that I'm listing tomorrow, one just came on the market on auction.com, like a smoking hot deal. It's probably like a 280 house. Well, and I know it's on auction.
How do you know it's a smoking hot deal? Yeah, they just start out at a number that's like usually half of what they have to get for it.
No, I understand that.
Auction.com is they're super low.
No, I know that it is, and I know that you're going to get. It's like I guess it's I'm kind of looking at it now a little bit like the one that we just got that had 70 offers. In my mind, even though that was an MLS and it wasn't an auction property, with him listing it that low, he basically turned it into an auction. When you've got 70 offers in 10 days,
he did. Let me tell you what the big difference is. Because I've done a lot. I actually, like the CEO of auction.com was like someone I knew really closely. I met him when auction.com was really new about 6 years ago. And we worked with him just 2 years ago. It was a year and a half. I could literally email him and tell him all the properties that I was interested in. He would tell me what I would pay for him. And I say, here, I'm interested in these. This is what I want to pay for him. He'd be like, yeah, that's not going to work. So he would give me inside information. The reason why he was able to do that for me is because the difference between your deal that was on the MLS and auction.com is, here's one of the things you're going to run against. Auction.com is it's this weird thing where instead of putting it with the agent, they'll usually from the foreclosure of the courthouse steps. Now, keep in mind, it didn't sell on the courthouse steps for a reason because the bank wanted too much money for it. That's why it didn't sell on the courthouse steps. So their next step is they take and list it with an agent. And then the agent puts it out and they get a BPO, a new BPO, and they put it out for the price that makes sense. The guy who you got the deal from apparently is really good at getting those BPOs low. So he can create a really great environment to sell properties and look like a champion. However, what they've started doing recently is auction.com has convinced a lot of the banks that instead of you listing with an agent, why don't you just list it with us? We won't charge you hardly anything, and we'll make the buyer pay a buyer's premium. And the banks are like, that sounds good to me. We're not paying an agent. Awesome. And so they'll give it to auction.com for like a month, 30 or 60 days, short period of time. However, it just came from a place, there's no new PPO. So the bank is usually going to give them the exact number that they needed on the courthouse steps that no one was willing to pay as a reserve. Right? They don't do a new BPO when they work with auction.com. So when you're at auction.com, what you're going to find is like 90+% of the houses never meet the reserve. And that makes it very tricky because all you see is a super low number and you don't know what the reserve is. And then what you can find is you can go see the house, you could bid, you could even be the winning offer. And then it could be like, oh, Ray, congratulations, you're winning offer, but you didn't meet the reserve. Does that make sense? So that's where the auction.com. Now, I've gotten deals from auction.com, by the way. I'm not telling you, and I know people have gotten deals from auction.com, but they go in these little runs where you'll go 2-3 months sometimes, nothing will hit a reserve. And you're spending all this time. So part of my process is, if you really think through what my process is and what what makes it so special is our ability to look into deals and make an educated guess of where our time would be used most wisely. And with auction.com, they steal that from us. Now, I was able to get it back by knowing the CEO and him being able to like say, Mike, the reserve is really high on this. Like the number you're trying to pay won't even get close to the reserve. So I wouldn't even spend time on them. And we did end up getting deals when I was doing that. He stopped doing it eventually because he was like, I don't even know what the benefit of why he did it in the first place. He came to me and was like, dude, I really want your advice. We're trying to grow our business. We're trying to make this thing more awesome. And he's like, I want you to use it for a while. And I'm like, I'm fucking busy. I don't have time to use that thing. I don't like auction sites. They kind of suck, like Hubzu and all that. I'm like, here's the issue with them. He's like, well, I'll tell you this, this, and this. I'm like, well, I'll use it then. So I did it for like 9 months with him. I got one deal in 9 months, and I made like 25, 30 grand on that deal. It was $90,000 in work. So like the only deal I got was like a freaking train wreck of thing to do, and then I didn't get any other deals, and I evaluated 60 or 70 deals. And the problem was, what really pissed me off was like I would be so like I'd win, and then it'd be like, yeah, you didn't win or you didn't meet the reserve. So I'm like, that's my issue with it, is that the reserves, they need to get the reserves down. So where I left it at with him was like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. You need to work with the banks to get the reserves down. Maybe he has, but I haven't heard of any students or anyone else or any bigger people that are really crushing auction.com long term. Because a lot of people will be like, I got 4 deals from auction.com. I love it. And then I get all pumped up, want to look at it. And then I talk to them 6 months later and they're like, yeah, none of those deals made money. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes more sense actually. So I'm not saying you can't, because look, here's the thing about where you are, right? You should try everything, because what's true for me and for most of the country apparently isn't true for New Jersey. You guys definitely have like some serious high level of, you have like one of the highest level foreclosures in the country, and you got the high taxes going on. So there's some things that like apparently people look right at and don't want to steal from you. I don't know. Whatever that mixture is really good for you, because it ultimately is, I don't know, man, it's working, right? So leave it alone. Don't mess with it. That's the way I look at it. So yes, I would try auction.com, but figure out a way that you're not going to blow a ton of time on the deals. And like, I don't know how you figure out the reserve. He did tell me one time, and I don't know if this is true, that a lot of times the reserve is usually like double what they open the bid at. But that's not, I don't know how solid that is, if that's all the time. So, because I was trying to find some way of knowing, like if it's at 50 and I'd pay 100, then okay, maybe 100 has at least I just want to know. I don't mind bidding, because you're right. You could win in a competitive situation like you did with that guy. But what happens when you're willing to pay 100, the open bids at 50, you're going to pay 100 and it goes to 150? That's the part that I'm like, would be driving me crazy, right? That's the part that make me lose my mind, essentially. So that's what you want to weed out. What you could focus on is so what I love I love, like, I'll tell you. So let me just give you another one. You see my top list, by the way. Top list is HUD Home Store. HomePath is probably a lot like it, but here's why I love HUD Home Store. HUD Home Store actually has an advantage over the MLS even, because see, at HUD Home Store, you can literally go on HUD Home Store, now that you're an agent, and you can put a bid in, and on like 3 minutes, and I ask you a little bit of information. You just fill that information and make your bid. You don't have to send proof of funds. You don't have to sign a contract. You don't have to do anything. And you can put that bid in, and there's actually HUD Home Store, the way they're set up, they make it super easy to bid on the properties. And then what I love about it is they're going to actually likely come back to you and say, hey, Ray, I know you put an offer in at 60. You need to be at 81.5. And you can hit accept, like on your phone, like accept, and done. If you like the number, if you hate it, no problem. Here's another benefit of HUD Home Store. Most of the time, you're only putting $1,000 deposit. So, often I'll look at a deal and be like, oh, that's a little tight. I'll take it. Right? It's like, it's $1,000, man. I think I could sell it off. I don't even care. I've actually, 3 of the deposits I've lost in the last couple of years were on the HUD Home Store because they were just $1,000 each. I didn't even care. I had one time when I bought 3 deals when I was on a cruise, all from HUD Home Store. I lost 2 of them, but I made a $9,000 assignment fee. So I was like, no problem. We lost $2K in, $2K in deposits, but made $9K on one of the deals. You see what I'm saying? You can do crazy stuff like this with HUD Home Store. It's amazing. They give you 30 days to settle, which is great. It's not like you got to settle in a week, so you got plenty of time to settle. You got $1,000 deposit, which makes you not have to like worry. You can make quick decisions. You also can make offers on everything. And then there's a time, by the way, on HUD Home Store when they get desperate. I've gotten deals at HUD Home Store for half of what they're listed for before. I'm not saying they do that all the time, but if you're out there, you're looking at a property and it's ready to be bid on, you can put an offer in. They also will give you a quick response. So when something goes from the exclusive phase to the extended phase where investors can bid, I usually put the offer in at 12 o'clock at night or like first thing early in the morning. Like I did one this morning at 6 o'clock. And, they'll give you an answer in a day usually. They don't hold it for 10 days and say, we're holding all offers for 14 days and then we'll go from there. They don't do that. So there's so much value. Do you see the difference between like auction.com and HUD if you're going to compare one against the other? One is a freaking
Yeah.
juggernaut. Like, I mean, of our 17 deals, like 9 or 10 of them came from HUD. So HUD is like the definitely secret weapon. And I don't know about HomePath. I think it might be similar, but HUD's got a lot of big valuable stuff going on. From what I remember with HomePath, they got a couple things that are, I don't know if they want like 10% down. I mean, that could be good for you, by the way. I don't really care about 10% down because that actually might run off a lot
Yeah,
of
no, they
jokesters.
don't.
So the 10% down.
Yep.
So do they ask for bigger deposits or?
No, not like they don't. Where HUD sets like a 30-day close and either a 50 or a 500 or $1,000 deposit, they kind of allow you to. Like the offer I did yesterday, I put in a 21-day close for a HomePath property, and the deposit I put in like 3,100.
Cool. Yeah, so I mean, you just put what you want. So I like that it's actually a low deposit now, and also I just like that you can do it. It's so automated and easy, and the process of making an offer is so freaking simple. Now, if your offer gets accepted, it's a little bit of work. You're going to have to work on it. So that's when it becomes a little bit different. When your offer is accepted, there is a lot of paperwork you got to do, but that's no big deal. You can figure that out once you've done it once or twice. Same thing. So it sounds like HomePath's good. I would probably recommend HUD Home Store, HomePath over like auction.com and the different auction sites, because the inherent problem with the auction sites is you could do all the work and even be the highest offer and then lose.
Yeah.
So I just think that inherently is a problem. And I know I've tried to hack it many times. I've had students, peers, friends, and I've never heard of anyone long-term having success with auction.com or Hubzu or anything. However, and usually it's newbies or people who just haven't figured out that there's like a lot of flaws in it. But HUD Home Store, man, I know people have been doing that since I got into business. I've been doing it since I've gotten into business. I don't know, it never goes away because inherently it just has so many awesome things about it. So if you think about it, it would be a better use of your time. I do like, and there's a couple other things that happen with HUD too that are really amazing. And is HUD often will have something on HUD Home Store and now have it on MLS. They'll put it on HUD Home Store and they give it to an agent, and the agent's freaking stupid and slow. So there's like a 3-4 day period where HUD might have the ability to actually bid on it and win it before anyone else. Also, HUD is very famous because, well, really not just HUD, but the agents that HUD hires, because they don't pay them a lot. They're famous for being like, it's a 2-bedroom, and you look at it and say it's 1,500 square feet. How could it be a 2-bedroom? You get in your car and you go out there and see it and go put an offer on it, and it's really a 3-bedroom, or it has room to put like a 3rd bedroom on the 2nd floor or something like that, and you get a great deal. And other people don't even look at it because well, I don't look at 2 bedrooms. So you see stuff like that. I've also had, when you go to HUD properties, they'll go there and there'll be no key, and that's why we get the HUD keys, because like you know how many times I've been out to HUD property and there's just not even a lockbox on it? Like someone forgot to put it on. I've also seen HUD take it off the market, and then there'll be things that say temporarily off on the MLS, and you go to HUD Home Store and it lets you bid on it. We had that happen for 2 deals one time. I mean, it's just so many little dumb mistakes that are made with HUD properties, and this has nothing to do with HUD. HUD just don't pay a lot to the agents. So the agents, when they think they want a HUD account, they're all happy, but really they don't realize they're probably close to bankrupt because HUD's not going to pay them enough to really be that profitable. They end up just having a job when you work for HUD. You're not going to make like 200-300K a year. You're going to make like 50 or 100 max if you're a hustler, because they don't pay you enough. They don't allow you to get rich. So it's hard.
Now, how do you?
That means they usually lower agents. Sorry, again.
Okay. How do you set an account up with them? Because I know Dan has one, but how would we set our own up so that we can go on and put our own offers in?
Oh, well, I mean, you just go on HUD Home Store and just look up how to set your own account up. It doesn't take much. I mean, the account, you just need to get your broker's NAID number and then your license number, and you go in there and put those in. I think you can just start an account like anything, and they'll let you bid. When you're bidding, they just use your broker's number and your number, and they just let you bid. The bids are just bids though. So they're allowing you to bid, and they will literally, if you bid and they accept your offer, it's just as good as a contract, but it's without all the headaches of writing a contract. How amazing is that? Right? You don't actually have to do all the work of writing a contract, but you have all the benefits of writing a contract. It's kind of like, it's awesome stuff. I mean, in HUD, man, is much like HomePath. They've got a lot of deals, a lot of opportunity on HUD. And I think people just sleep on HUD in general. I think they just sleep on it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to actually text him right now and figure out how to set that up to get the NAID number.
Just ask that he should know it, or he can get it from his broker. It's a number he has, and then her agent number. I think that's the only two things you need to set it up. And I set mine up a while ago, so I don't really remember, but it's pretty simple. I just went on the site, and it took me like an hour or two to figure it all out, and I was set up and good. But yeah, being able to put those bids in and maximize that bid, dude, that is like, Dave used to love that. That was Dave's stuff. He just would do it all day long. He would just he'd put in like 15 offers a week on HUD. And he had a whole system where he just randomly put a lot of offers in. And most of the time he'd be like, every week he'd win like 2 deals, but then we'd end up giving usually either 2 or 1 of them back. And he would net like 1 deal a month, and he'd be all happy about it. He's like, oh, it's 12 deals a year. And I was like, I don't like doing it that way. I kind of like to have my offers a little stronger. But I like anything on HUD that, as you know, that can be. I just look, HUD can do. I just like the way they roll. The whole system is set up well for people who have their stuff together. You have any deals on HUD that I've gotten that they sent me everything? I mean, you could literally with HUD, if you wanted to, and this is another great part of HUD. I had so many great parts, but with HUD, you could literally, like, anytime they send you a counter and it's like anywhere in the ballpark of what you want to pay, you just hit accept. And guess what? If you accept it and you don't send them in 2 days, they just can't get all back, and they don't even penalize you. I think Dave had like 60 houses accepted one year, and he kept 12 of them.
Wow.
And I thought they'd shut my account down or something. They didn't do any of that. So they don't care.
Okay.
So it's all, I mean, HUD has some amazing stuff, and it sounds like HomePath's pretty awesome. Have you gotten deals from HomePath before?
Yeah, the one that the most recent one that we just bought was HomePath, and then the offer that we did comps with you yesterday on that split foyer, that was HomePath also. So what I've seen them doing up here, the reason I said put them on there is what they've been doing recently up here. It's like clockwork. When day 30 hits, day 31 or 32, and I've been following a few of their listings, they're literally doing $25,000 to $40,000 price reductions, like overnight.
So you can actually start timing that. What would be the smart move then is for you to make an offer, that lower offer, before they make the deduction, because when they make the reduction, other people see it and then they go want to make offers on it.
Exactly. So yeah, so I saw it happen on 2 of them. The one that I saw yesterday was one that we had looked at, but they did that price reduction, and then, like you just said, they went from 160 down to 120. And as soon as we submitted that offer, they emailed back like an hour later saying there are multiple offers on this. Please do highest and best by 1 o'clock today.
Okay.
So if it's at 30 days, I'm going to go start walking them, like you said, on day 25, 26. And getting the offer in and see if I'm close enough, and before they even drop it, like you said, see if that makes sense, if you can kind of manipulate their system a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, dude. That you can, by the way, and that's the thing. Once you start to notice their patterns, they don't generally change them. And that's the thing. Most people aren't paying attention to the stuff you just said. You realize that, right? I mean, like I cashed in on HUDs. This is what I love about HUD too, man. When they get on a roll, like if you get a good HUD system, there was a time where I bought like 11 HUDs in like a 30, 45 day period. And I bought 11 HUDs, and I'm telling you, I was putting half price offers on them, and they were accepting like half price. I got some of the best deals I ever got online, where when HUD was just like, they had this period where people were just buying so much from HUD. I bought 11 HUDs, and I bought 3 or 4 other deals from people who bought HUDs that I missed, and they sold them back to me for big profits. And I was like, I bought so many deals. I was going crazy for a while. Now, you don't know. They just have their thing where sometimes HUD at the end of the year will clear things out. You just don't know what the rhyme or reason is for HUD doing crazy stuff. But if you have a good system with HUD, then you're going to be in a really good spot. If you're working it regularly, then you're going to just go through these little runs with HUD where you end up getting like a lot of deals. Me and Dave, like I said, had a month where we got like 3 or 4 deals from HUD. And it's just HUD just is great sometimes. And it was in December, by the way, which seemed like an end of year thing. Like they were trying to clear inventory out. That was just December before. Actually, not this last one, but the one before that, when Dave was still here.
Wow.
So, yeah, HUD's awesome. I haven't done as much with HUD lately because Rashad didn't even know how to bid. That was the issue with Rashad. Dave was amazing on the MLS. I trained him so well over the years. Rashad was like awful, but he was really good with people and good on the leads. So I kind of realized like I prefer, if I had to have one or the other, I'd probably prefer people being better at the MLS because that's free versus paid. Or someone that can do both would be actually the perfect thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff up there.
Spend your time on those two. I would, I'm not saying you couldn't do auction.com, but you would be the first person I ever heard of doing that. And I'm very intuitive. I listen to anyone who's like, I'm doing deals. I'm like, cool, how you doing deals? You know how many strategy sessions Delonte and I were doing like in a month? It's crazy. We're talking to people all across the country and we're like, hey, how you doing deals? Where are deals coming from? And like, yeah, and I don't think anyone ever's like auction.com. That's in business very long because I'm telling you, it's not, just in general, it's an ineffective like way of doing business. So, I definitely, so I'll tell you, let me give you a little more MLS advice because I've been really optimizing my whole MLS plan lately because the market's been it's April and the market's a little bit competitive in April. And honestly, I'm going to probably just keep doing this when it's not competitive. And if you take things to like a crazy high level and then you maintain that level when things aren't as competitive, like when things start to slow down in May and June and July, what you're going to find is like what worked pretty well in April will work freaking phenomenal in like July or November or December. It's just going to crush it. So what I'm doing now is I've been actually taking and thinking of things like really doing what I call like a deep dive. If there's an area you really like, and I'm looking at like everything that's listed. I'm going back 90 days on the market, 60 days on the market. I'm looking at when I go out to a neighborhood, I effectively want to see anything that's listed in that neighborhood that is an as-is condition. That like definitely is not going to sell to a homeowner's in distressed condition. Because while I'm out seeing one house, I might see 2 or 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I might see because it'll take much more time to see 2 or 3 more while you're out there. And so while I'm out, I'm getting like one I seen a week ago and I haven't even done anything with it because it's priced at 160. I got to pay 115. But the reason I seen it while I was out is because I got it on my MLS hot sheet. And my plan is to let it get a little more seasoning. It's like 100 days on the market. I'm probably going to make a call soon and say, look, I know you're at 160. I know you've been out a while, but like, I'm probably going to be at this price, but I'm a serious buyer. Right. And let's start talking. I already did it with another one. They said no, but I'm going to keep staying on them. Right. My job is to follow up with them. While I'm out there, I might just like push it and follow up. They're going to have to sell it for the right price at some point, don't you think? So while I'm out, I'm kind of optimizing. If you really wanted to then optimize even farther, you could, if you see any properties, you could drive for dollars. But honestly, I wouldn't even drive for dollars where you are, like, because you're in a nice neighborhood. So driving for dollars is going to be not enough houses. Older neighborhoods are really good for that. Like I have a neighborhood, here we go.
Well, no, when we drive them, like we went and looked at one this afternoon, another one, and when we drove them literally on the way in and then we looped the neighborhood on the way out, we found like 6 houses, already had lock boxes on them, had sheriff's papers on the door. So, and what I'll do is I'll just throw them into a Redfin, and then basically as soon as they kick active, I get notice. So they're not formally listed, but in Jersey, every foreclosure has to go through the courts, and right now they're still at about 1,000 days to get a foreclosure fully through the courts. So people are like, they're seeing houses.
Your plan is are you trying to get a hold of the person who's being foreclosed on?
No, I honestly, believe it or not, a lot of this stuff, and this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, but a lot of the stuff that we're actually even getting our hands on now is literally, when we started, I ordered a 5x5 wall map of about a 20-mile square radius from our house out. And literally, as we started buying houses in different neighborhoods, we started using little yellow and orange stickers on the map to start mapping and hyper focusing like neighborhoods we did well in, towns we did good in, towns were more friendly towards investors. And then we started driving them because we didn't really, at our very beginning, we had like no money. And we thought, here's how we're going to find this stuff. We didn't know how to do mailing or marketing, but we went on and we saved them. And fast forward 3.5 years now, all the stuff that's coming up and it's like, oh, this property was just listed. It's something that we literally saved on Redfin back in like 2015 when we were starting in the business. So it's kind of funny, the stuff we're buying now. We didn't even go and search them.
It takes a long time.
It does.
It don't make sense to drive for dollars. So is what I'm getting at, because you can't be driving for dollars for 3 years from now. I mean, you still end up getting it when it's on the market. What is your way to circumvent around the fact? Because my experience has been, if I try to drive for dollars for like a bank owned, is the bank just going to list it? It's very hard to get the bank to sell it to you before they list it.
Yeah. Maybe eventually if we start doing marketing, I could probably be a lot more proactive with it. But again, like you and I have discussed, I mean, there's such an abundance of.
Yeah, you might just wait and let the bank take care of that. Because honestly, the people that are going in foreclosure for the types of houses I see you're doing, they probably owe too much. And the bank's just taking a hit once they take it back. They're doing a BPO and taking the hit when they take it back. I bet if you bought it from the owner probably has a mortgage that's like way higher than you could buy it for. Does that make sense? So it seems like your best bet is to actually let the bank do their thing and go from there. Or if you're willing to do short sales, obviously, because that's a different story. The bank might be open to a short sale. I don't really know. But until you aren't finding enough deals for what you're currently doing, I wouldn't even worry about all this other stuff. I just would optimize your MLS time, optimize like the things you're looking at on the MLS, because there's so many deals between HUD, HomePath, the way you're doing the MLS now, seeing other properties while you're out, like looking at stuff that's a little overpriced, more days on the market that no one's paying attention to. All those things tend to really that's how you get like the juicy stuff going, is you're seeing stuff that it was right in front of other people. I put an offer in a day and I don't know why I feel like I'm going to get it, but it's $150K in the area. I normally pay $100, but the house was actually in really good shape. It's worth $260. So I'm kind of happy to do it. It's only like a $40K renovation. So, $260, $40K renovation, that's a pretty sweet deal. I'll make like 35. I think it's $50K renovation. So I think it was like a $32K deal. And I'm like, I'll do that in a second, just because it was in really good shape. I mean, it was clean. I'm not going to take me about a month to renovate it. I'll be in and out. But no one's probably paying attention to it, I wouldn't think, because I know nobody's looking to pay $150. But I seen it because I was like, let me just look at everything that's on the market. And I looked and really opened my eyes up a little, because Dave and I, where I would say we were both weak, is when you've done a lot of deals, you start to create like a pattern and you don't ever look outside your pattern, right? You get a little more narrowed like blinders on. So you're missing some, and you do it intentionally, by the way. Like part of our success is the fact we put those blinders on. But also, when there's low inventory, then what you have to do is take the blinders off and really look at a more wider market. So we had a lot of abundance when we were doing that. So now it's like a little more lower inventory right now. Oh, anyhow.
Yeah, I definitely think ours has changed too. Our property avatar. Like the one we looked at this afternoon, it's listed at 209. But literally the house next door is identical. And that one was just listed, but I have sold in like the 310 range. But I literally walked it today, and it's like probably like a 28K rehab. And now I think one of the biggest things is not having to pay those commissions on the sale side. That's been like one of the biggest like eye-opening things, I think, because it's kind of like you said, the one student of yours that uses all cash, like right off the bat, without him paying points and interest, right off the bat, even if I had better contractors and better numbers there, everything else being equal, because he doesn't have to pay points and interest, he can automatically bid on depending on the size of the deal, $6 to $9 grand more than me, because he doesn't have points and interest. So I'm starting to really realize, like, what are the?
It's actually for the points and interest, it's like 10 or 12,000. I mean, he's usually paying 10, it's 10 to 15K. Like hard money on a standard deal for me is usually running like points, interest, all the stuff, that junk fees, hidden things, somewhere in ten to $12,000 you can pay difference in that. And if
Yeah.
you were to do that, so like if you were to take and do no points and interest and you were like your own realtor, I mean, geez, I don't even think you'd have to market for sure. You could just go on the MLS and buy everything. So when people are like,
Yeah.
well, how are people paying so much on the MLS? Well, yeah, I mean, you're just focusing on the good news is people who are doing everything themselves can only buy so many houses. But anyhow, he just had a lot of money because he took second place in the World Series of Poker. So when they thought that about him, they were kind of wrong. He never really ran out of money. He paid all cash
Yeah.
for a lot of houses, like 25 a year usually. So it's kind of crazy.
Wow. Yeah, it's just interesting, like little subtle shifts like that. And then that's what you kind of realize, because as I'm looking at these and putting offers in now, where other people are factoring in, that they're going to have to pay on a $250,000 deal, they're going to have to pay out 15 grand in commissions right off the bat, with literally just having to cover my realtor's costs for pictures and his assistants. I'm a couple of $100, not $7,500 for 2.5% or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't even think about that too. So yeah, front and back side, it's a lot. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's why I like being a
it's
realtor.
exciting, man. That's why I like looking at this stuff. And then when I'm like, his people are handling all the paperwork, it literally, like, almost overnight, it allows me to make offers that are probably at minimum $5,000 stronger than they were just in March of this year, just because I don't pay commissions on the backside.
Huh. Dude, that's awesome. I didn't realize it looks like Gerhard and Darshan are on. I thought it was for a second. I was like, thinking it was just you because I had a screen up. I wasn't paying attention. Hey, what's up, guys? You there?
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's
Gerhard.
Up,
what's going on?
Hey, what do you guys have going on? Anything you need help with? We were just talking about like MLS ninja tactics. We're trying to figure out how to beat the MLS. I've been working hard on it for a couple weeks now.
You were saying about the HUD home store, right? You know what I found in my market? So the thing is listed as exclusive, and let's say it expires Thursday night, that it would go over to investors. Then they will extend it again for exclusive. And it never gets to the... That
happens in every market.
Yeah, but they do it like it never goes to investors.
I mean, I would doubt you've looked at it long enough to have a sample size to know that's the case, but that seemingly is the case here, but it's just not true. If you only looked at a certain amount, which I'm assuming you probably did not put hundreds of hours into it, we've literally looked at the HUD home store thousands of hours over the years. And yes, it's annoying when it extends again, but at the end of the day, what you want to focus on HUD is things that aren't in good condition. Because see, if they're not in good condition, they won't as likely sell in the exclusive period. When they're in pretty good condition, they're insurable, and they can do 2 or 3K loans, then ultimately those are going to probably never make it to the investor period. So that's something so that's why when I'm on HUD Home Store, I'm not looking at nice properties. I don't know for Ray if that's true, because Ray does somehow have the ability to buy like already renovated houses, and he just buys them and then just comes in and Hannah gets to decorate them. And it's just like, they're pretty easy in comparison to everywhere else. But I'm saying for most parts of the country, definitely. I'm just messing with him. He knows I'm joking. He has to put some work in. But yeah, he'll show me stuff and it'll be like, got new paint and carpet in it. I'm like, what is this thing? You could literally put a tenant in there. Like, I mean, it's just ready to go. I mean, in general, compared to what we're used to, they are very, very easy rehabs. And they're newer houses too. They're usually 20 years old, which is crazy. I mean, that's a very new house. So, but in most of the parts of the country, what you want to focus on HUD is the stuff that's not in great shape, because HUD has a lot of really great programs, and HUD's initiative and their main focus is to make homeowners. So they don't want to sell to investors. They will if a homeowner doesn't buy it. So the homes that tend to end up going to investors are the ones that homeowners can't buy. So if you're focusing on stuff that's in reasonably decent condition, yes, you're going to see that a lot more often than if you're focusing on something that looks train wrecked or at least in bad, like missing a kitchen or mold in the basement. All those things are amazing when it comes to HUD Home Store because you know it's going to run off the regular buyer. And now every once in a while you'll get people who are illegally buying and saying it's for their personal self and all that, but you can only do so much of that before you run out. Like you can only buy one in your personal name a year. You can do that though. So if you're keeping it as a rental, Gerhard, you can just buy it personally.
Oh yeah. Now, I've been looking at them in the 4 counties that I'm hitting. There are 6 listings on the Home Store.
Really?
The one county there's 3,
That's
4, 1, and 1. That's it.
Yeah, that's really low. It's bad.
Yeah, it used to be I've seen before where there were more. So because there's only like 2 listings, they just milk the shit out of it, I guess. I don't know.
I'm surprised anyone's even on there with that few listings. It doesn't seem like it would interest anyone. Ray was talking about HomePath, so you can check HomePath out. You can check all these areas out.
I looked at HomePath, and then when you look at HomePath, there's another one, Home Steps. That's Freddie Mac.
Okay.
HomePath is Fannie Mae, and then I saw Home Steps picked up. That's Freddie Mac, and they both had like nice stuff. So I'm hitting those guys tonight.
I'm writing Home Steps down now. Let me just check it out for you and see what's going on with it. Homesteps.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know what's hot and what's working. Every one of these like online bidding sites and different government programs. I love the government programs because they just seem to be more they're more like you can break the system easier. But like auction.com and them, they just like the issue with them is they're not the final decision maker. They're a middleman. They're selling for the banks for a commission. When you're dealing with HUD directly or Home Steps or Home Store or Home Path, right? They're the final decision maker. So, they can do whatever they want. I've seen them just decide to like fire sale stuff, do all kinds of stuff. They have different objectives. Sometimes they need to clear inventory. I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons I really like them a lot, but obviously you need volume with it. So it's not going to do a lot of good if there's only like 6 listings.
Yeah. I noticed that auction.com, everything that goes for sheriff's sale goes on auction.com and anyway. And then they sort of like it's sort of like they test the waters and decide if they're going to the sheriff's sale on Friday or not. Because some of them even are like, oh, by the way, you cannot bid. You got to come to the courthouse on Friday. So they almost use it like the advertising for the sheriff's sale.
That's what auction.com does. It's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not testing. They're just marketing for the courthouse steps. That's all. Getting in front of more people. Because for the most part, most people don't even know courthouse steps auctions are happening.
Yeah.
It's not exactly easy to figure out where all that stuff's going on. It took me a while to figure out all the details. Like, I spent 9 months figuring out the courthouse steps and the whole system for it. It's crazy. Well, that's why auction.com is doing that, to try to get more retail people to come to the courthouse steps. What's the rules on your courthouse steps? Do you know?
Well, it's not really on the steps. It's in the courthouse, but you basically there's an upset price for the bank. So what I saw is what happens is the guys that are serious, they go talk to the bank guys, because so the bank guy will be representing some lawyer for the bank, and he will bid to whatever the bank's minimum is. And then they will, after that, he'll stop bidding. So these guys would just go and ask the guy and go like, dude, what's your price? And that way they don't run the price up. So if his price is more than you're willing to bid, you don't even bid on it. And so they'll go 123 Main Street. The bank guy stands up, 2,300, and nobody will bid. They go, okay, the bank guy's at 2,300. And then the ones that are hot, where the bank goes 2,300 and the next guy goes $76,000, you know, and then it's in the running.
Yeah, they don't want to just sit there and go up $500 a piece.
Yeah. So
they won't do that on
basically
our courthouse, but
yeah. So these guys basically
that
have
is pretty
worked
smart
out
because
before they go, you know. And
that
so then
saves
the bank
time because
guy
they'll sit there on our courthouse steps. We have like the newer auctions at the courthouse steps where they'll be like 15,000. The next thing you know, they'll be like 15,500. And I'm like, that thing's going to go for 200,000. They'd be like, or 12, 13 minutes bidding and like at 1,000 or 1,500 bucks a pop. And I'm like, these guys are lost their mind. I'm just start bidding at $25,000 increments. Like, come on, guys. Like, you know, you ain't getting this for like 15,000. They're wrong with you, man. I got places to be.
Yeah, so that's what it seems like. I mean, I went there twice to check it out. I didn't take any money with me, and I figured, and of course, you got to turn your phone off. So I turned my phone off, but my watch was ringing, so I got kicked out.
Huh.
My watch was ringing when nobody ever calls me except for the day I was sitting at the auction.
Why can't your phone ring? Is that a dumb question?
No, they go, listen, you got to turn your phone off while the auction is going on, and no talking, no talking, no phones. If your phone rings, they throw you out. So my phone rings, and I'm it's just my watch. So and the sheriff guy comes. Yeah, it's in like auditorium, and down.
Yeah, they do that in Baltimore.
Yeah, and so the sheriff guy comes over and is like, "Get out," like a typical sheriff, guy, that's just. So I go outside. He goes, "Turn that off." I said, "Hey, my phone's off." So I walked back in.
How do
and
you
sat.
handle like all the liens and everything on the property? Did it make you just take it the way it is?
Yeah, I guess, there's a list and you have to go check them out, I guess, before. And so they'll just be like, docket number, da da da. This is the address, starting bid, 5,000. And they'll run down the list. And as soon as you win, you got to go down and pay your deposit, which is 10%. And so what the guys do is they show up with a bunch of cashier's checks, 5s and 1s and 10s, and you just pay the closest to what your winner is.
Exactly.
And then and I think what
I'm doing, I have a really strong system for it.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, but if you can figure out how to make it not dangerous, it's really lucrative.
Actually, what I scored this week, one of the houses I looked at, the lady is one of the people that work in the courthouse. She's one of those, like the title companies hire her to do title searches. And so she's got access to all the court records and stuff. So I said, hey, you do probate? Well, you did make me a list. So she said, yeah, give me a call next week. We can talk about doing something like that. So I'm gonna see if I can get her to make me a list cheaper than the U.S. probate guys. Man, half the damn addresses, because they just put the last known address of the people. So it's like the old age home, Hey, I want to buy your house
really?
at the old age home. Yeah, basically what the list is this is the guy, this is the day he passed away, his last known address, which is the old age home or wherever that was, and then the PR address and then the attorney address, which is all just in the public records. So you don't know if that person actually owe any property. And what I did then is I just
verify that. They're not verifying that for $400 a month. They should be verifying.
No, they're not even verifying. Yeah, they're not verifying if the person actually owns any property. If that's just the court records, which to me I think is basically useless. Because I had to go through the list again.
That's all I market to, just so you know. That's all I do is I market through. I market just to all those, anyone who's in probate. But when I paid a lot of money for it, it was verified that there was a house in the estate, and that's why I paid so much money for it.
Yeah, well, I thought I paid the money for that verified piece too, and it doesn't seem to be there. So now I have to verify it myself. So I might look at a new list.
Yeah, I would
You know,
consider it, I guess. I mean, you just send the list, though. I mean, the list you have, what they're doing is they're giving you all the large estates, and large estates most of the time will have a house in them because, like, most people don't have 50K in the bank to make it a large estate. They usually have a house that makes that kind of money. You get what I'm saying? So, for the most part, I wouldn't get too detailed about it. I mean, get your list out. I mean, how big is the list? It's probably not crazy, right?
yeah, 200 people, 400. Yeah, so I just send it out in any way. I'll call them in any way. But, I mean, I actually went in the MLS. You can search in the public record by name and see if that person actually has anything under their name. And a lot of these old age homes, like I know, for you to get in there, you got to sell everything you own, man, because they want all your money to live in that place. So if you die in there, you don't have shit. I mean, there's nothing to get or to sell.
Dude, I don't think I've ever gotten an old age home address, but
oh, I got all of them, and I can make an old age home calendar.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so what I did, I sort the list by address to pick all of those out, and those I went and looked a little deeper to just check and see if the person actually had anything. And you can see the people, when they went to the home, when they sold their house, like the year before that year when they went in the home, or the house was sold a few months ago. Yeah, I mean, so anybody that had a home and it was sold, I just pulled them out of the list. I mean, it's just no way. I mean, out of the whole list, I found one guy that was like a real estate dude that had like 10 properties, but not really. That most of the people actually sold their house.
People usually own homes. Well, if they just died, they didn't usually sell their house if they just died. That's been my experience with probate over the years.
Correct. No, what I'm saying is the people that were in a home, right? So there's a mix of people, because everybody, I mean, obviously the list don't discriminate on if you had a house or not, right? It just says this is the guy who died, right? So if the person was in a home, in an old age home, they most probably either sold their property or had none. People that lived in the house, that they owned it, and those are good ones, right? But the other people have, if they were in a home, it's not even. I mean, I actually search by their name, and then I can see the transaction of the sale. When they went in the home.
So what are you going to do with it? How are you going to beat it? Because there's definitely a way to win.
No, I'll just run through the list still and pull out the names that are good and just use them. I'm thinking of still sending a letter in any way to everybody. Just to the estate, right? And be like, hey, if you have anything to sell. Because who knows? I mean, maybe they had 20 LLCs, or just going by the person's name, you cannot necessarily discount it. So I'm still going to market to them at least once or twice. I'm still going to call them just to see in case there's something. But if I know for sure their house was sold, the chances of them being a good probate lead is a little slimmer. So I'm not going to beat the hardest.
Probably if they don't have a house, But so what I do, I give you my probate process. I have someone go online. You can get the probate list online in Maryland. You can't get it like in DC. You have to go to the actual courthouse. I just get all large estates because, a large estate versus a small estate. Large estate often will have a house. Sometimes it won't, but I'm not really worried about that because, everything's about making life easy. And, to dig through, you have to go into like land recs and all that and do like a little bit of a search, like a title search almost, to figure out, okay, is there any property in the estate? There usually is a way to do that. It just takes more time. It's more energy. I don't think it's worth the time and energy to, do in order to save a letter. So I get the whole list. I just send the letter out. I send that letter 5 times, once a month over 5 months. If you wanted to be more aggressive, you could do like as soon as you get it, because it's usually pretty new. You want to try to get these things like every week, 2 weeks, where they're pretty new. And what you would do is you could hit them like day 0, day 15, day 30, day 60, day 90. Or you can just do once a month. It's up to you. I've done both. They both work really well. But like the list, I did have a time, and I don't know company's name is, and I couldn't use them when I sold my company because my partner was using them, but I had a company who would actually get the list, and it would be verified that there was homes in the account, and they didn't have numbers or anything. I'm sure I could probably get those easily, and it was like $6,000 a year, and they would give me like, I don't know, 5 or 6 counties. It was pretty awesome. Actually, I was like pretty happy about it, and they seemed to deliver, and we seemed to get deals off of that list. And now I have a VA doing it since it's online. I have a VA who does it for like, I don't know, no money at all. And just every week she does it and sends me a list. And when the list gets like 100 names, I just send it off 5 months. Send it to the people and just be like, hey, send these people this mailer for 5 months straight. And I just keep doing it. And you don't get a lot of phone calls from it. But because, it's a pretty small list in general, so why you don't get a ton of phone calls. But man, when you do get leads from it, man, you end up at the end of the year, you're like, I spent this much money. It's like, it's always one of the better performing moneymakers. And that's all you really can know about it, right? That's all you need to know about it, that it's one of the better performing moneymakers. With that being said, no reason to argue the fact that it makes a lot of money. So I don't know. I've never had anyone tell me probate doesn't work. The issue people have with probate is that it's very difficult to scale your business off probate because it's just limited. Like I was doing 5 or 6 counties, and it just represented like 10 deals a year. That was it. I mean, 10 deals a year is a lot if you're not doing any deals, or 10 deals a year and you're doing probate. I personally love probate. If you were only to do one mail, I would tell you to do probate. It's just no way to lose with probate. Probate is actually amazing in 2 ways, and it won't feel amazing when you're doing it. But my coach actually told me this with Rashad, and I never really thought of this. Like we spent $2,200 on bandit signs. Okay. And had a guy put them out. He was happy. I didn't have to do anything. I just gave them to him. Like with his labor and the signs cost me $2,200. We got one deal from that for $2,200. So when we looked on our list, it was our lead source bandit signs. Now, with that being said, I'm all happy, and I'm like, yeah, and it took me 6 months, by the way. It took me 6 months to get all those signs out and get that one deal. So that's only going to equal 2 deals a year. Because, you can only go so hard with bandit signs before people start going crazy. And, you get putting out 100 on every corner every week. It's going to get a little old. So I'm like, okay, it's 2 deals a year. I guess it's worth it. Keep Eric busy. But here's what my coach said to me. And I never thought about this. He's like, okay, well, how many calls did Rashad take? Well, I went and looked at that, and that was the part that was scary. Okay, it took 101 calls to get that deal. So bandit signs generate a shit ton of calls that you have to field and take. And he's like, Mike, how will Rashad money if he talk to 100 people to get a deal? It's like, yeah, it was good for you, but it was really bad for him. He's like, now look over here at probate. In probate, I'm like, same 6 months, I got like 4. He's like, okay, how many people did he talk to get those 4 deals? And it was like 13 people to get those 4 deals. It was crazy. And he's like, how much money did you make on that versus what you spent? It was a little more. I got a much better deal but I got more from probate. But also, more importantly, what you have to understand is the work you put in. So the thing about probate, your phone don't ring a lot, but that's actually a pretty amazing thing if you really think about it at a high level. I mean, ideally, if we're doing 10 deals a year from a lead source, I mean, if we could somehow only get 10 phone calls, that would be amazing. Because now we have the perfect scenario. We're putting no energy in, and when we do get a phone call, we know it's a great phone call. We can go above and beyond for it. Well, probate is a little bit like PPC is a little bit like that too. If you get a PPC call, take it serious. That's pretty good conversion. Even though PPC is completely flaking right now for me. It has been for a couple months, but I'm not getting any calls, but when I get them, they're pretty solid. I can't say that's not the case. I'm just going to have to try to close every one of them or to pay for the campaign.
Yeah, because the person is already motivated when they call you. Yeah, I do like the probate. I think the quality of properties, the chances of getting a better property is even better. Because again, I mean, when you die, nobody says, "Oh, only people with ugly houses die." I mean, so there's a better mix of
only
properties.
People with ugly houses die. That's pretty true. Yeah, people with ugly house. I mean, people that die are old. They don't usually rehab their house. Their houses are 100% outdated almost every time if they're older. Now, if you get someone that's 28 that died, that's a different story. But if there's an older person who's 80 years old, they generally renovate their house. I mean, they just don't. They live in houses that they accept what they have, and they don't need the luxuries that we have these days. They're usually, so you see that a lot. So probate has always been the case of what I just told you. You'll put less work in it, and it's a little annoying because when you're not putting the work in, the thing you start to feel is you start to feel like, wow, like you might go 3 weeks and not get a call from probate. And if you're spending $1,000 a month on probate with the list and everything else, that can be kind of nerve-wracking. We've many times, my partner has almost convinced me to get rid of probate because it wasn't doing anything. Many times he's almost convinced me of doing that. And then I'm just like, let's go back to the numbers. And every time we go back to the numbers, probate is freaking killing it. Another thing that probate has is it has you work the least amount of calls for probate to get the most deals, but also it usually has the highest profit margins. I've never had a year, if I'm looking at any lead source, probate is always my highest profit margin per. The only thing I hate about it is that more people don't die. I'm just like, shit, I wish I could do more of it. It's just but it's a piece that, like, I look at it like you should be doing it. It's just always going to be, even like on the MLS a lot of times, like in Ray's area, he's getting a lot of foreclosures, but in a lot of areas, estate deals, probate deals tend to be even good MLS deals. Well, I don't know. There's just, in general, I love those situations. Scenarios are almost perfect scenarios. And that's true for anyone I was in seven figure with, like everyone was like probate. Yeah, man, it's just like them. They just were like, it just don't represent a lot though. Yeah, but we're never going to stop doing it because it's awesome. What do you guys have? Anything I can help with before we jump off?
I'm good. We're just putting some more offers in. So we're working through comps and stuff, but I think we're pretty good waiting to hear back on those other offers and putting some more in.
Sweet, man. How many more deals you need?
One's going on the market Thursday. The guys are jumping into the electrician's done. They're finishing. I'll probably be out of the second one in about 2.5 weeks. The one that had the 70 offers on it, the settlement date on that got pushed back about 1.5 weeks. So we're not picking that up till next week. So I'm trying to get 2 more, I think. So I have a total of about 3 in the pipeline. Yeah, but I don't think I'd be overwhelmed.
So
with
actively
that.
Looking. I mean, that's kind of where you always want to be. No,
yeah,
easily wouldn't be overwhelmed, because if you got so sometimes, Ray, you'll find that when some of these MLS deals are just hot and they're just giving them to you, you might have to buy 3 deals at once and then inventory. That's something we can talk about. I've actually used to do that quite often. Like right now I need some deals, but like in November, December, I'm usually inventorying like crazy. I just buy the deal, and when I'm buying it, I'm just looking at the deal and saying, okay, I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to start it for 60 days. That's going to cost me $3,000. So I'm like, with that $3,000 in extra cost, does this deal still work? If the answer is yes, then I don't get too butthurt that I'm not going to start it for 60 days, because I know in 60 days, I essentially don't have to look for a deal. And if I buy in like January, 60 days actually is like right in the height of the market where you won't be able to find deals. So it's really important knowing that you could buy a lot in like December and January. November, December, January are really months, but then once February, March, and April all start to happen, people start to wake back up. And they start to say, oh, we need something for the spring, right? They start getting a little more motivated. So that's okay to inventory. I just like to make sure I'm inventorying because opportunity came up a lot. I've actually inventoried in the past because my rehabs weren't getting done fast enough. So I don't like to do it for that reason. They're done fast enough, then I would just say, don't buy, and actually go, hold yourself accountable not to buy, and then go get the rehabs going back on the right track. But your rehabs are all going really well. So now you did get 2 or 3 deals, of course you could handle it, because you wouldn't try to do them all 3 at once. Just start them incrementally and start putting them on the calendar. Imagine yourself like you're a contractor and you're booking your schedule out, right? You're just going to pull your calendar out and be like, all right, we're going to start this one in 30 days. 30 days later, we'll start this one, maybe 3 weeks later, we'll start this one. 3 weeks later, we'll start this one. Pretty simple. I mean, depending on settlement, obviously. But there you go. Now you got your option of like how you got deals for a while.
Yeah.
That's nice. You know?
Yeah. You know, I think
No, you always got to just keep looking. You never stop. Go ahead, Ray. Uh-oh, we lost Ray. Well, you guys know my move now. Whenever somebody goes to say something, I just cut them off. Delete Ray out. All right, we might jump back on. Now I got to wait for him for a second.
I'm going to jump off. I'll see you guys. I'll let you know how my.
Yeah, man. Have a good week, Ray, Gerhard. Let me know if you need. Let me know if you need anything. Let's focus on trying to get some deals. I know you're working hard on it. So if you need anything, feel free to Marco Polo me, text me, and let's jump on it, man. I want to try to get you a deal here as soon as possible.
Yep. I'll send you the letter that I'm sending out
All
for
right.
these, so you can see what the wording is. Let me know if I need to tweak it a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'd love to
cool.
look at it.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right, we're jumping off, Ray. I'll talk to you. Ray, you got any final words?
No, my phone died. I forgot it was on Wi-Fi, and I walked out the door.
Oh, cool, man. All right, I'll
Sounds
see
good.
you guys later.
Thanks.
All right, see you, Ray. Bye. See you, Darshawn.
See you.